Good morning and welcome to our second Facebook Live show. Today we're going to be discussing harmony in the home. As we develop this awareness that our homes can either develop or nurture us, it's a really good time to have a conversation about how to create that space that nurtures you and doesn't deplete you. So take it away, Arya. Let's have a great conversation and discover some new ways to create harmony in our lives.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're in Okanagan enjoying the warm weather out there. And I like
Yeah, warm and smoky. You can step outside and smell the fire.
I like the beautiful frame you have behind you. It's a
Oh,
very colorful and nice. Uh,
yeah. I love the red and gold color combination. It's lively. It's one of the impacts that I enjoy.
that is exactly the topic that we want to talk about today.
Yes, I
Uh,
know.
See, you don't know how much important is the effect of the ambience and the environment around us on our day-to-day life. We wake up days with fatigue and we don't know what's going on. We wake up with a bad mood sometime, and that small little details can affect the whole snowball the whole day for us. But if we understand the physics and the science behind all those things, we can basically create a much better, much healthier lifestyle for ourselves. Because all those little details that how we live our life and the ambience around us can affect on our relationship with our family, with our spouse, with our loved ones, with our colleagues and co-workers, in our performance in our job, and in general, the way that we interact with people, and like the same way, like when you're right now, you're the smoke around you, the air quality, and sometimes the heat can affect on your performance, and you might not be in your full performance, and whereas where you're living in a more conditioned space and much better air quality place, you can be much more the person you are. You don't have to compromise, and you don't have to go hard on yourself to become better, and you become tired less and less, and do much more of your performance of your work or your life. The life is about joy and have fun. Even if you're working, that has to be fun. Has to be something that you're enjoying and getting the best of your personality and the person you are. And some of these elements that I'm talking about today are basically related to the senses. We experience the whole world within our five senses, or sometimes they say six. And two of them today I'm talking about are our vision and our hearing. Then talking about vision, we experience the life through our eyes, and see things around us, and things that we see around us are a reflection of the lights, and depends on where we are at. Some of our homes could be a house, could be anything related to where our living space is, have south facing, and they have a direct sun. Some of them they don't. Sun is basically the source of energy and source of life, and then when we get a direct sun to our living space, our living space has the best quality of energy that we can get, and as a result it reflects in our life. However, we have to make sure we are in the control of how much sun we are getting. Too much sun sometimes can get bad, become too hot, or not only that, it destroys our furniture. So we got to be, like, for example, I see you have a double blind in where you are, so that can control the amount of the sun you're getting. But at the same time, if you don't have enough sun coming to your living space, it can cause the sometimes mold or some uncomfortable space that you have in some sort of mood. I don't know how you're going to call that, but you don't have that energetic feeling in the morning that you want to go on with your life and have fun. So that is why the light is, especially sunlight, is very important in our life. So basically, when I'm talking about the light, we have sunlight and we have artificial light. Sunlight can be direct sunlight, or can be reflective sunlight, which means when if our living space is in north side, the light we get from the sun would be from the reflection to the objects that come into our living space.
This is a time, for instance, if I have a north part of my home where I might want to put a mirror in to reflect that light back into other parts of my home. Is that something you would recommend?
If you have the opportunity, like for example, I have a mirror in my yard, because there is some area of my yard that doesn't get enough sun. So I put an outdoor mirror out there that it can reflect, and everybody's coming and asking, what is that mirror for?
That's amazing.
It's kind of like a question, focal point, but at the same time, or curiosity, but at the same time I'm getting what I want to my plants to grow bigger and much better, getting the suns. But that's a very good idea you just mentioned about having a mirror to get. But there are times that you're living in a condo that you don't have any option. Your condo is in the north side, so in that case you reduce your curtains, because you don't need to control the damaging sun ray coming to your place and destroying your furniture or your flooring or something like that. You want to increase as much as possible to get sunlight. However, in when we are building energy efficient homes, we are trying to reduce the northern side, because we have already create the southern side exposure. When you have a southern side exposure, then we reduce a northern side exposure to the sun. But if you're living in a condo, you don't have the sun exposure, then you have to increase north exposure. The reason behind is that they want to reduce the sun north exposure is because they want to reduce the amount of glass, a window, because glass and window has less R value, which you need more energy to heat up the house. That is for the summertime or nicer days. I really recommend to have your northern, if you have the windows, leave it open to get more of that energy. Even the reflected sun ray would be good enough for you to get the energy you want. And artificial lights are as important as sunlight. Most of the time we inherit a place that it's been designed or built by, or the artificial lights been installed by electrical contractor with not having the knowledge of how I can distribute my artificial lights. Most of the time, if one light fixture is going to be in the middle of the room, that it distributes the whole room. When we were living in a survival, or in the beginning of 1900, even having a light in our rooms were luxurious. There was time that the people didn't have the light, but now we're living in a different era. This is not matter of living in a initial lifestyle. We are looking at how we can enhance our living space, how we can enhance our performance. So when we have in that stage, we don't have to just put one bright light and distribute to everywhere. We can have more smaller light in different part of the room to create better distribution and have most of the areas having the same type of light rather than one spotlight. Like my case, I still have that issue right here. My place is as one because the place is smaller. When you get a little bit bigger, then you want to have distribution of light much more better. And not only that, the light by itself can be a source of excitement to create ambiance.
Yes.
Like, for example, I designed a house in it was actually a good looking or luxurious home, and I had skylight, and on the rim of the skylight I designed the LED light with some fixtures that it would be illuminated during the night. So the skylight that was source of natural light, sunlight during the day to bring light to the area that was not getting any direct sun. So the skylight, the round and beautiful big skylight, producing that, bringing that sunlight to the space. During the night, that artificial light was doing the job and becoming a beauty of the fixture of the space and making it much more nicer. These are the things that we want. Why somebody is hanging a frame on the wall to make the ambiance much more interesting, having an accent. The same thing we can do with artificial lights.
Yeah, I love a well-lit room. I love a well-lit kitchen. Going to what you're speaking to here, when I'm chefing it up in the kitchen, I don't want shadows on the countertop, so I like under the cabinet lighting. I like lighting that I can direct where I want it to go. The word for that, the track lighting, where you can there's adjustability to where the rays of light are going. But I often think if we go back a couple of hundred years before there was electric light, imagine the dark corners and the poorly lit rooms that people had to deal with then. We're living in a wonderful time for the...
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I like to add the color on the lighting as well. So when you have, especially with today's technology, that you can have LED lights, colorful lights that they can even change the color anytime you want. Depends on the mood that you are in. You can, for example, the cove lights that right now is not something new, but it's becoming more fashionable. With LED light, you can have cove lights all around everywhere you want, in your living room or bedroom, and having an ambiance light, like a different color. You don't have to have one big light. When you're, sometimes you want to read, you can have that ambiance light and have a small spotlight on your, if you're reading book, or if you're reading on the iPad or a Kindle, so you don't need any light for that. But that ambiance light can really help with becoming more excited about your activities. If it's reading or it's playing a game with your family, anything like that, or having a dinner. It doesn't have to be just one big light over the top and producing the whole light. So I really encourage everybody who is building new home to think twice before they putting the drywall, basically even at the stage of designing their home. They can hire the right person to give them the direction to how to make their home much more exciting, with preparing the proper fixtures and having the better lighting for their place.
Yeah.
And other addition of that, the combination of colors and lights. I don't know if I talked about light colors yet. Not yet, I don't think. So the second option, point of elements that I want to talk about is colors. So yes, the lights by itself can produce different colors, but the colors that we have, the objects around us, like your millwork, like the wall coloring, the furnitures, even the clothing that you wear. These are all the curtains, the window covering. All this small details can affect on our psychology of our life. The psychology of the color is very important in our living space, and depends on the mood you are in. That will really affect. You don't wear the same clothes every day. You change your mood and you change your clothes. So we can do similar to that. Depends on the stage of our life with our living space, and it's not too expensive to do so. You don't have to, because you inherit a place. Like, I have to talk about a girl that I met recently who moved to Vancouver, and she rented an apartment, and she didn't like the way that it's been painted, and she said, you know what, I'm gonna pay extra for my own pocket, but I want to do some colors, put some colors on the wall that I like.
Yeah. Yes.
So that little details, that little elements that you add in your life, it can affect on your mood, it can affect on your life. So I really encourage you, if you can spend just a little bit of money on that, you will receive a whole lot more back from your life through universe.
It's so very true. The science of color is a science, and I believe there's strong evidence to support how the colors that we surround ourselves with powerfully impact how we move through our day-to-day life. We all know that red is invigorating and blue is calming, but then you put together a palette. One of my favorite palettes is a beachy palette. So of the sort of the driftwood wood colors and the soft blues in the sky. I'm looking at the colors behind you right now, and I like a really calming environment. But some people want a cave. They want dark walls, and they want to feel enclosed and safe in their space. We all need different things, and color can deliver that to us.
Exactly. Let's say, for example, depends on your job. If you're working in a hospital, all blue, and then you don't want to come back to the blue home. You want to have a contrast your life sometimes to make that balance. The contrast is not bad. Contrast creates balance, because this is like a yin and yang. That's the life. It's full of balances. If I see a lot of people like purple, especially girls, and then everything around them are purple. So it's good to like a color, but you have to see, okay, what is your life surrounding you? I mean, just what mood you want to be in. It's not only because you like one color, you have to put everything the same color. So I remember I was watching a TV commercial about one of the hardware stores, and they were showing that they were matching the whole walls and furniture on, let's say, an orange skin or an avocado peel or avocado seed. Are you kidding me? This is good to start with. This is good to start with. Okay, you like that color, but doesn't mean that your life has to go around that, because color is basically covering our surrounding our body, our life. We are surrounding ourselves with the colors that we see every day, and those colors are going to affect our life, our performance. So I understand sometimes you want to mash things, but it has to have a balance on that as well.
Yes, it does.
If you don't have a balance, the life is going to be boring. If everything is black, then honestly, your life is going to go black.
Well, and that's why we use the color wheel, isn't it? Because if you're creating a triadic color scheme, it's going to be more soothing than if you're using the colors that are opposite each other. I have to confess, I'm not brilliant at this. I've learned some of it, but I've learned how to assemble a palette that is calming or invigorating. And yeah, so as you say, it's all about balance and what you want to create with that balance. Some people might want a really energetic space.
Exactly. And even the color palette is not quite complete, because there are some colors that are not exist there, like chrome,
Yes.
or bronze, or gold, or steel. These are not exist on that color wheel.
True.
So, and not only that, nowadays I can see the wall covering, the texture they bring. Oh my God, that's just amazing amount of innovations are coming out with wall coverings. And let's say, for example, I remember back then we were doing the floor, wall, and then baseboard, and then crown molding. That was the routine. Everybody was doing the same thing. But nowadays it's not anymore. There is not the borderline anymore. No
Yes.
more borderline. No more wall and floor or ceiling. These are all floating to each other. The wall covering comes all the way to the floor. Floor covering comes all the way to the ceiling. That's just the what called the construction kind of thing, like that. But it creates a harmony as well. It's not like craziness. It makes a harmony and creates a nicer looking.
Yes.
I had a client about a week ago. They had an issue about the design of their flooring. They hired a designer and they said, okay, we don't know how we can flow our wood flooring on our living space, because they had several different rectangles that they were interconnecting, and they were thinking, okay, if we go this direction all over the place, and then this is going to look differently. I said, you don't have to put boundary on your the imaginations of how you can put your floor. It doesn't have to be only one direction. You can have each area that is defined, each rectangle has definition of one functionality, can have their own layers or their own direction for their flooring. Depends on your entrance, depends on the use. You can basically install your flooring matching that place. It's not that you just have to find one direction and go all the place have the same shape. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult for the installers. It might charge you a little bit more, but trust me, you're going to get a better result.
Yeah.
And especially in that case, the floor was like this. It was not. They used floor leveling, but it didn't work well. So in that kind of cases, you just have to be more creative how you're doing your floor covering to make it much more interesting. What color you're using, the direction, all the reflection of the lights is not just the material that you're using on the floor. Is not just the color that it defines the shape that you're looking for or the beauty that you're looking for. Their texture and their direction of installation, how the light will reflect on each material will be different. That's why we have interior designers. That's why people study all these things.
Yes.
What I'm doing in these talks are just bringing awareness. These are important factors to think about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As you're planning your renovation or your build, somebody like you, Aryo, is exactly what people need in order to do we ever really get our dream home? Because we're always evolving, we're always changing, and we're always looking for new things. But boy, oh boy, if you're trying to do it on your own, you're not going to get anywhere near as close as if you're working with somebody like you who knows about these things. You've studied it. This is what you do for a living.
Yes.
And you do it brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, even when talking about dream home, what is the dream anyway? Whose dream is it? Is it the client's dream, or is it the designer's dream, or the builder's dream?
Yes.
A lot of time that is being confused because sometimes we say it's dream home, but it's more of the architect's dream. Then they become, that is what I made. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
but is it really beautiful for the client as well? Is it really meeting their expectations? This is really what makes them a better person in their dream? Anyway, that's another topic. We can talk about that.
Yeah, that's a future show.
Yes.
I think we have a few new topics coming up, don't we? And we're going to talk about home organization soon. What else are you cooking
Let
up?
me finish the last element,
Okay.
and then we can talk about those as well.
Okay.
So yes, the last element that we're talking about is sound. So we
Yes.
talk about the artificial light, or we talk about direct light. We talk about colors and the combination of the colors and the lights. And the last but not least is sound. We are living, especially when you're living in the city, when you wake up in the morning and you open the window, you can hear a hum.
Yeah.
What is that hum for? Coming from? From the cars, from all the noise around, from motorcycles, from everything around us. And
Yeah.
that is become a background of our head.
Yeah.
And this can drive us crazy.
Oh boy.
So, even though we close our doors, even though we close our windows, we might not hear more than 50-60% of it, but it's still there.
Yeah.
So how we can improve the quality of life with better sound? If you have a brand new home, a lot of new homes right now, they have a central sound system. But if you don't, no worries, because the new technology brings Wi-Fi, and we can have a smaller sound system all around the place. When you're in the kitchen, in your bathroom, in your bedroom, anywhere you can have your music, as long as you have even an iPad or a small device that you can play music that you enjoy during the work, when you're doing your dishes, when you're working, when you're playing with your family or whatever. Let that calming, or if you want to put the calming music, put the calming music. If you want to have a more active, more energetic dancing, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah.
Just have a sound around that can help you to eliminate too much humming noise from outside and too much of inner noise as well.
Yeah, that inner noise, boy, oh boy, if you don't get control of that, it can wreck your day.
Exactly.
Or it can certainly wreck your sleep.
Yes. Yeah, especially if you're sleeping, you can have, I personally sometimes sleep with some sound or music.
Yes.
Could be meditation music, could be subliminal sounds that
Mm-hmm.
gives me motivation for the next day.
Yeah.
So, that is another science that related to holistic view of life.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to get to that point, calming music would be good. And I know there are some people who have a hard time to sleep. They use that method to sleep much better with brainwave.
Whenever I leave my puppy home alone, I play puppy soothing music, and I'm finding that I'm leaving it on more and more often, because it settles you down. There's something, as color impacts us, sound impacts us.
We experience life through our either vision or sound and
Yes.
touch as well. So touch is another topic. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
You're asking me about what other subject we're talking about. We're going to talk about organizational skills, or how we can organize our home to make it much more livable. Another topic we are going to talk about later on, the importance of other creatures. Could be a pet, could be plants. These all how it can impact our life, day-to-day life. And another topic, of course, always can be a topic to talk about is how we make our home energy efficient. This is mostly about when you're either building new home or you want to do a major renovation. So these are the three topics that is going to come soon. I have actually a list of the topics. I don't have it in front of me right now, but maybe next time, next week, we can run through the all other subjects we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and we can also invite our viewers
Oh,
to
yeah.
tell us what they want to hear about. All you have to do is add a comment onto this live stream,
Yes.
and we would love to hear from you. Love to have your input on what works for you, what your impressions are, if you have comments or questions, and absolutely some ideas for topics that we can discuss.
If you missed this live conversation, we will not only replay on in Facebook, but even after a week, we will have it in YouTube as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. It was nice
Okay,
talking
so
to you.
it was great. I'm hoping our viewers had a good time, and we'll be back again next Thursday. We're sort of shifting times around to see what times work best for our viewers. So keep an eye on the event page on our Facebook page, and we'll be back with